Hello, Becky here. Welcome back to my channel. I am here to do a Bookish goals update video and a channel update. So after 5 years, I have not figured out lighting, and unfortunately the cozy little area I have downstairs has no natural lighting to work with, which is very frustrating, and outside is just not an option right now. So I have all these lights set up and I am getting all kinds of crazy shadows and everything, and I cannot for the life of me figure out lighting. I have a giant light above me that's very bright, but it's kind of in the middle of my little corner here, not right directly above where I sit, and I'm struggling. I have my other lights here, which is blinding my cup, and it's a struggle. So excuse the lighting. Let's jump into my update, my Bookish goals update, how they're going so far this year, and just a few things I want to talk about that are happening in my life and how that affects my channel. So I started my YouTube channel back in July of 2019. And when I started it, I wasn't 100% sure exactly what kind of content I wanted to make, but assumed I would be going in the direction of more mommy parenting kind of content. And then I discovered BookTube and I was like, wow, there's this whole world out there, this online world about books and bookish people and people talking about their favorite books and making a living off of their passions and their hobbies, and that is amazing. I will be honest that when I first started doing YouTube things, I thought it could be a way for me to make even just a small income. I am a stay-at-home mom and I don't have any source of income for myself personally. So I was thinking that if I could find a way to make a little bit of money, that would be really nice, even if it just covered the costs of my many hobbies that I have, including reading. If I could just make enough money to buy the books, that would be amazing. A lot of people tell you when they are going into doing any kind of YouTube, whatever your niche or content is geared towards, that you have to do it because you love it and it's your passion, and that is how you're going to grow an audience and hopefully eventually make an income off of it. Even if you're not quitting your full-time job to do it, or this is just like a side hustle kind of thing, you have to have that passion and that drive and that love there for it. Because if you do not, that is going to come through on the camera. And you are not going to grow and make any money off of it the way you would if this was a real passion of yours. And that is very true. And after 5 years of doing this, I can tell you that it takes way more time and effort behind the scenes than anyone realizes, and it does have to be a passion project. It has to come from a place of loving what you do. No matter what job that you have, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you would do it for free because you just love doing it so much, there are still going to be hard days. There's still going to be parts about the job that you might not like, but that outweighs all the amazing things that you do love about it and the benefits that you get and the joy and everything that comes from your job. And listening to Dr. Phil, he talks about how everybody has a currency. And for some people, it is just money. They want to make money. But for a lot of people, it's more than that, or at least not just money. Of course, we all need money to live and survive and exist in the world that we exist in. But what keeps people working who do not need money, the millionaires, the billionaires out there, they don't need to work to do an income. Dr. Phil talks about how he doesn't need to do his show anymore, or his podcast, or any work at all. He could comfortably retire and never work a single day in his life again and not have any money worries. Why do people continue to work or do some sort of volunteer work, at least in the area that they are passionate about? Because the currency is more than just money. And it can be different things, like if you are doing something for YouTube, whether again it is your full-time job or it is just a side hobby type thing that you happen to be making money from, your currency that YouTube is giving you has to be more than just the money. It is giving you something like community, and I want to say like a safe place to share with people, but the internet is notoriously an unsafe place to be. But hopefully you are developing a safe community that you can be a part of, and maybe having a smaller section like on Patreon or having a Discord or something where there's just a much smaller core group of people that you are getting your relationship, friendship needs met that way. A part of the currency of whatever it is that you are doing on YouTube could be teaching somebody something, sharing your knowledge and your passions for whatever it is that you are creating content for. And I thought that YouTube could be a great way for me to share my passion and love of reading and make a few dollars. That has not happened at all. I am not monetized, and I have put a lot of time and effort and even some money into this YouTube journey over the last 5 years. I have not gained any financial rewards from the work and effort and everything I've put into this channel. And I have not seen any other benefits from it in the way of creating my own community. I love to have discussions. I love to have dialogue. I love for people to be like in the comments talking and chatting and back and forth dialogue and discussion about different topics, whether it's books or XYZ, whatever I'm interested in. I want to have that community, those discussions, all of that stuff. And that has not happened for me either. I don't have a high subscriber count. I don't have a high watch record or anything, and I don't often get comments on my videos, or if I do, and I'll respond and then that's it. And that's fine, but it's like every video. It's not just occasionally or the occasional person who will comment and not respond back to me. You're not gonna get dialogue with everybody, of course, but I'm getting like 0. So the currency from YouTube isn't coming from any direction, from any source at all. So part of that is YouTube. The reflection of my glasses is driving me crazy. So part of that is YouTube and the algorithm and all of that stuff. I have never been very good at being consistent with my content and putting out enough consistent content for the YouTube algorithm to push my stuff on people. And I never wanted to just pick up popular books just to get the clicks. I never wanted to post clickbaity type videos. Even though I know that you do have to feed into that algorithm, I didn't want to force myself to read books that I was not interested in just to appease the algorithm. And there are a lot of authors and book series and stuff that I never even heard of before joining YouTube, like Colleen Hoover or Sarah J. Maas or Cassandra Clare. And I have no interest in reading big, giant, epic fantasy series because it's not that I don't like fantasy, it's just not my go-to genre. And I have too many other books that I do want to read, and that's okay. Not every booktuber has to read every single genre, and there are those who focus more highly on fantasy novels, and that's where people go to get their fantasy recs. There are people who do stick to certain genres for the most part, like horror or sci-fi or fantasy or whatever. So a lot of people will seek out those specific YouTubers to get those kind of recommendations and that kind of content. I also realized that a lot of booktube content was YA, and I have nothing against YA, I just hadn't been reading it for a long time because I am in my 30s now, and I started this YouTube channel when I was in my 30s already, so that just wasn't the age range that I was gravitating towards most of the time. And I have read a lot more YA since joining YouTube, and even more middle grade and stuff as well, and have come to appreciate certain aspects of those genres, and I find that middle grade hits a lot harder than the YA and adult in a lot of cases, even though I am not in that target demographic, even though I'm not the intended audience, but I do have kids around that age, so I can put myself in the shoes of the character from when I was that age, and I can also picture it as my kids going through these things. And it does hit a lot harder, and I do appreciate reading the middle grade books. And being a part of YouTube, you do hear a lot about what the popular YA novels are that adults are enjoying as well. So I'm not just picking up random YA books either, I'm picking up books that other people are talking about and hyping up. So what does that have to do with my journey, and what am I even talking about? I did want to do a video about how BookTube has changed my reading, and the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, how my reading has changed since joining YouTube, the BookTube community. And as I was saying, when I first started doing this, of course, I wanted to jump in and read what everyone else was reading, and I wanted to be a part of every single readathon out there. And if there was 5 prompts, I wanted to read 5 books in a week, and that is not attainable for me at all. And even when I was younger and didn't have kids, 5 books a week is not something I can read easily. That's not my superpower. And it wasn't that it was a competition against everybody else. and seeing people reading over 100 books a year when I was cracking like between 48 and 52 books a year. It wasn't a competition. I was amazed at seeing people who could read 100, 200, 300 books a year. I was like, wow, how do you do that? That's incredible. But I wasn't questioning that they were doing it or saying like audiobooks aren't real or they don't count or whatever. Like, I was just amazed at them and thought that was amazing. And I know that's not a realistic goal for me to put my reading goal at 300 books or something. But joining a new group, when you get a new passion for anything, any kind of new hobby or whatever, you want to do all of it, right? And I kind of joke about when I was working at the crafts store, people would come in and say like, I want to learn how to crochet or knit. And we would say, start with a dishcloth. It's square, it's small, it's basic, it's easy. Don't start with a big project. But like, we're totally the kind of people that are like, I want to start crocheting for the first time ever. Let's make a king size quilt. Like, let's start making a dress. It's a very large, big scale project. And when you're starting something, you should start with something small because you get that maybe not immediate, but a much quicker satisfaction of finishing something and being proud of yourself for learning a new skill. And it's like that I find when you join a new community too, and discovering YouTube, and not discovering YouTube, but BookTube, discovering the BookTube community and this bookish online space. I just want to be a part of all of it. Now, 5 years in, I have settled down a little bit and have tempered my expectations a little bit more and understanding what's realistic for me. I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 4 children. I have a 2.5-year-old baby, so I've had a child since starting this YouTube journey. My son, as I'm recording this today, is his 9th birthday. So he was a few years old when I started this. And then, yeah, I've had a 4th baby since then, since starting. And there are YouTubers out there who do have kids. And there are YouTubers out there who have other jobs besides this. But everyone's circumstances are different. Everyone's home life is different. Everyone's behind the scenes is different. And everyone's reading life and reading journey and books read or pages read per year, per month is valid. And if you read 1 book a week or 1 book a month or 1 book a year, you're a reader and that's valid. If you read ebooks or audiobooks or physical paperback books, that's valid. If you read just online comics and fan fiction and webtoons or something, that's valid. That's reading. And if you're just reading children's picture books and learning and discovering and enjoying those books and laughing and having a good time and you don't even have kids, that's valid. Or if you do have kids and you're reading those books and you're still choosing to count them towards your reading goal, that's fine. You do you. I'm not here to say like you can't count a picture book. And I gotta tell you, like, if you have little kids, like the 3 and under, 2 and under, and they're reading board books, they're usually pretty simple with only maybe 10 words on a page. But some of those picture books for older kids, I get tired like halfway through reading those books. Like, they have a lot to say in them. So if that's what you're reading, do it. I have bought picture books for myself because I was like, that's adorable. But I do have kids. So I'm like, I'm buying it for me, but also for the kids. Would I have bought those books had I never had kids or didn't have kids now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. One of the personal things going on with me right now is my brain and my difficulty in remembering anything. And if I get distracted, interrupted in the middle of a sentence, that's it. The whole thought is just gone. Like, the train is off the tracks. It's derailed. It's gone somewhere out there somewhere. It's completely not great. So that has been a struggle with filming videos as well, because I just sit here, and I know this happens to everybody occasionally. I just feel like it's happening to me a lot, but I'll just sit here with the longest pauses, and I'm like, I have an hour's worth of footage to edit, and like 20 minutes of it is just me staring blankly into space because I have forgotten all words in the English language. Anyways, watching other people's content, I was like, part of me was, I don't know if jealous is the right word or envious or what the right word quite is, but I would see people being like, oh, I'm gonna read these 5-6 books in a week, and I was like, I'm lucky if I read that a month. How am I supposed to come up with enough content to appease the algorithm and keep things going out there? I can't read that much. I don't read that much. And this year, being 5 years, I wanted to celebrate my 5th anniversary with 5 videos. And this year I've been really pushing myself to be more consistent with the content and try to plan far enough in advance that I can put out longer vlogs or add more books into a vlog. I know I can't read 5 books in a month, but around March I started planning my July content for the 5 videos I wanted to put up. In March or April, I recorded my BookTube anniversary tag to come out on my BookTube anniversary, which was July 2nd. And I wanted to read 5 Canadian books to come out on Canada Day, July 1st. I wanted 5 books because 5 years, 5th anniversary, and Canadian books, Canadian authors because I'm Canadian. So I started reading those books back in like April, and it was still a struggle. One of them I didn't even finish, the graphic novel I was working on. I finally just finished it not that long ago, and it was like the longest graphic novel of my life. But I barely got that video out on time, even though I started reading the books months in advance. And at the beginning of the year, I decided I wanted to read my husband's new favorite trilogy because he's just gotten more into reading about a year ago. And I decided I was going to read the first 3 books in the first Red Rising trilogy. And his birthday is March 19th. So I read 1 in January, 1 in February, 1 in March, and got it up just like a few hours before he was expected to be home from work on his birthday. So I was really cutting it close. And the other videos I had planned for July for my anniversary were how BookTube has changed my reading, my bookish goals, and a quarterly wrap-up, and the mid-year freakout tag. I said earlier the anniversary one came out on the 2nd. The mid-year freakout came out July 2nd because that was, according to Google, exactly halfway through the year, and July 10th was my anniversary vlog. I have fallen over a month behind in the content I wish I could get out, that I was hoping to get out, that I planned to get out. And I've been really struggling to not just want to film, but to edit. And editing takes me forever, a ridiculous amount of time. It's like a full-time job just to edit. And I always have a baby in my lap and it is difficult. I can ask my husband, like, can you watch the baby for an hour? But I won't even get through editing a video in that amount of time. And our baby will stay up really late at night. And my sleep schedule is all over the place. I've been really struggling with that lately. There was a few weeks earlier in the year where I couldn't fall asleep before 4 in the morning. And I was up around like 8:39 in the morning, so I wasn't sleeping very well. I've always had difficulty sleeping. Everything has just been a struggle lately. And I feel like at midnight, I finally get alone time. I finally get adult time. I'm finally not around the kids. And then 2, 3 in the morning, I'm like, I have to go to bed because I need sleep, but this is my alone time. And this is the time the dogs are sleeping, the babies are sleeping, my husband is sleeping. I can just sit and focus and do all the editing without getting distracted by everything, right? And that is obviously not sustainable. And I've been struggling for a long time. I say that I'm going to quit YouTube. Like every video I'm editing, I'm like, this is it. This is my last video. I'm never doing this again. And I have lost all desire to edit these videos. And I put so much time and effort into editing. And like I said, I'm not getting anything back for it. It's not just about the money, but I'm not getting comments on my videos, or likes and stuff are good and it is engagement and I appreciate that. But I want more of the actual engagement of you talking to me. So, 1,000 people could like my video, which has never happened, but 1,000 people could like my video, but not a single comment. It still feels like I'm not getting the engagement, right? And I have just so many ideas, like wanting to do my Sunday scriptures and my mommy moments and my marriage moments and so many different things that I want to work on that is just not sustainable. I can't do it all. I don't have the time to work on all these different things. I have too many ideas and 0 time. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I can't keep this up anymore. I have been filming quite a bit. I have so many clips for so many vlogs I want to do. I was so excited for my summer of romance reading vlogs, and I have clips for all of that stuff, and I still want to work on them really bad, but I also don't want to be releasing summer romance reading in like November. I filmed so much for Summerween, have had no desire to edit it at all. Just, there's no passion there for it anymore, I guess, and I'm feeling just really low and down about it, and I think I just need to step back and not do it anymore. My kids go back to school in 2 days, September 4th. I don't know when this is going to come out. So they go back to school September 4th, and I have my toddler all the time. He's always here. But I'm hoping that when my kids are back in school, that maybe I can do once a week sprints live. I don't want to completely stop doing YouTube altogether, but I'll have to pick a day for whatever sprints. And yeah, I think I'm just going to stick to more of the reading timers for now. Maybe some clean with me timers like I've done in the past, just because that is a lot easier to edit right now. My son will be going into school part-time in 2 to 3 years. We'll figure out next year if we're going to put him in when he's like 4.5 or if we're going to wait until he's 5.5 or whatever. And I would say like, I'll come back then, but I'm going to be like 40. And I turned 37 this year and I already feel like the old person on YouTube. Like I'm the grandmother here. I know in society, I am not like that old or anything like that, but in YouTube, it really is a young person's game. And by young, I mean 20s. And I don't know, like, will I be coming back to doing this more full-time or not? I don't know. I may still do the occasional video and just put it out there as something for me to look at in the future. And I do have the editing software and everything, so I'm thinking I will still just do stuff that is more personal just for the family. All of that being said, I do want to wrap up talking about my bookish goals and where I'm at as of July 25th. So let's cozy in here and talk about our bookish goals. Comment down below if you have any bookish or life goals that you want to share for this year and how it's going. Do you feel like you are succeeding in your goals? Do you feel like you're hopelessly behind in your goals? Check in with yourself, see where you're at, what you can tweak, what's working, what's not working for you, what goals you were excited about in the beginning, but you realize that's not realistic. Maybe what goals you've added as the year has gone on. It's never too late to start working on your goals or thinking ahead to where you want to be this time next year. Personally, I would like to get into shape and be healthier and just have a healthier diet that serves me better than what I'm eating now. And I'm failing at that completely. Honestly, just failing. I am waiting to hear back from a surgeon for breast reduction surgery that I figured I would get the ball rolling now for it, as I know the wait time could be like 2-3 years, but I've had people telling me that it could be 2-3 months. Am I ready to have a surgery in 3 months? Not at all. That's terrifying. That is something that I will film whenever that journey comes. That is a journey I do want to document. But I would want to get healthy, and part of that would naturally be losing weight. I'm not here to discuss BMI and if a certain weight or whatever is healthy or unhealthy, or you can be healthy at a bigger weight. That's not what I'm talking about. Me eating a diet that's going to make me feel good and fuel my body and give me the energy is naturally going to cause weight loss. That would also include in the chest. So I would want to do that before going for surgery. And now my train has left and I can't remember why I'm telling you about surgery. Personal goals. So just getting healthier in general. But let's talk about my bookish goals. I paid for Canva for a year and I love it. I love Canva so much. I'm having so much fun with it, making everything on Canva. And I wrote down what my bookish goals for 2024 were as of July 25th was the last time I went and filled out this information. I changed this 4 times because I kept not being able to film this video. So my reading goal was to read 75 books in the year. I usually hit closer to 90, but I leave it at 75. And as of July 25th, I had read 52 books. So I was at 69% of my goal. And in the months of April, May, and June, I read a total of 19 books in the second quarter of the year. And this is what I'm talking about when I look at other people's wrap-ups and everything. They read 19 books a month. I'm like, I read that in a quarter. It's valid. My reading is still valid. It's okay. And I want to share that with you in case you're one of those people who's like, I only read 2 books a month. That's okay. That's fine. All reading is valid. In April, I read 5 books. In May, I read 6 books. And in June, I read 8 books. So my goals were to slow down and enjoy the books I am reading and reading with intentionality. So I read a book, I go, wow, that was really great. Close it and pick up the next book and go, wow, that wasn't so great. And then close it and then pick up the next book. And I usually have 2 to 6 books on the go all at once. So at the end of the year, the end of the month, the end of the week, people are like, what's a great book you've read lately? And I'm like, blank. What's reading? What are books? I've never read a book before in my life. What are you talking about? So I want to read with more intentionality, and that includes annotating, highlighting, taking notes, doing a few of the other things I talk about here, and just slowing down and enjoying the books I'm reading. My goal should be more like 50 books in the year, or 52, let's say 1 a week, and the goal should be not to go above that. Just 50 books. That's it. I wanted to read 12 nonfiction, just any nonfiction, whatever that means. And then another specific 12 Christian nonfiction books, because if you don't know, I am a Christian and I am really struggling in that area of my life right now. In every area of my life is just a hot mess right now. And not my faith, like my belief in God, but my relationship with God and Jesus and everything. Nothing bad has happened. I didn't have a falling out at the church or anything like that. Just life, and I think mentally I've had a falling out. And I need to grow closer to God. You have to read your Bible and pray and get close to God himself. But reading Christian fiction and nonfiction can help with that and give you that encouragement and that boost to get into your Bible. And good, well-written Christian nonfiction books will have a lot of scripture in them as well. Do you need to read it in context with the Bible? Yes. Should you be opening up your Bible and reading that to get closer to God and not just nonfiction reads? Yes. But God calls Christians to write books and tell their stories and to give guidance and whatever. Not every Christian obviously is meant to be an author, but I mean, God can call you to write these things to help people, right? So that was one of the things I wanted to do. I want to prioritize my reads. So that is books already on my bookshelves. And well, my other goal, I said read the books already on my bookshelves. So prioritize my reads is that, as well as what do I want to read, not what's popular on BookTube, not what's hyped. If I'm interested in a hyped book, great, but don't read it just based on its hype. So going a little bit further in, write more book reviews using the Caw Pile method as a way of helping me decide on ratings, because I've never rated books before BookTube. I was never like, this is a 1 out of 5. This is a 5 out of 5. I was like, this is amazing. I love this book. All-time favorite. Or I was like, it's okay. Or yeah, it was a pretty good book. I never gave star ratings before discovering this little BookTube community. I'm still terrible at giving star ratings unless it's one of those all-time favorite books. I'm like 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, right? But Caw Pile, I feel like, will help me not just give like a star rating, but to actually sit and slow down and read with intentionality. Do I like the characters? Do I like the atmosphere? Am I connecting to the writing? What's the plot like? Logic of the book. Does this book make any sense? And another thing about BookTube, one of the good things that has come from it is my DNFing so many books. So I really, if it's below a 3-star, I don't read it. I DNF it. I could do a whole video on what that means. Like, what is a DNF? Why do you DNF? All of that stuff. That's not what we're here to talk about now, but I used to force myself to read books, and I would spend months reading one book because I was just absolutely bored and never wanted to pick it up. But I felt like I owed it, like I had to finish it. No, you don't. This is me giving you permission to let it go and read the books you're enjoying. Unless you're in school and you have to read a book. Well, cheers. Good luck. Don't force yourself to read books that you do not need to read. I wanted to bullet journal more. That's another thing I never cared about before being on the internet more, but that's reading with intentionality, writing out my reviews, getting myself more engaged with the stuff would be bullet journaling. Track my book buying. I'm better at it this year, not great. And be more consistent with my content and post more on Instagram and not worry about having these Instagram-worthy photos. That doesn't mean just taking the crappiest photo ever and posting it on Instagram. Take a nice photo, take a decent photo, put a little bit of effort into it, but not stress about making it this most beautiful Instagram-worthy photo. Just be open, be real, be honest, post a picture of my book. And then I wrote, how's it going? How are these goals actually existing in my life? So I've read 7 nonfiction books, so it's pretty good. I'm currently reading 4. 2 of them, when I took down this information, I was reading 4 nonfiction books and 2 of them were Christian. I'm reading another one about prayer and planning on starting 2 more prayer, hearing from God books. I'm still reading the 2 I have written down here, but nonfiction, good. Christian nonfiction, not great. And reading the books I have owned, out of the 52 I had read at that point, 35 of them I owned and 17 were borrowed. Some of them were they bought and read, so I technically owned it, but didn't own it prior to picking it up for something, maybe, but not that many. And 17 borrowed, so we love our library. And I had a spring TBR, and on that TBR, I have completed Meet Me at the Lake, which was one that I read for the Canadian vlog. I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which was a nonfiction true crime that I read for Gavin's Patreon True Crime Book Club, the only one we've done. And From the Ashes, which is an Indigenous read that I also did for the Canadian reads, and it is a memoir. Ongoing, which I have finally finished, these two, Ducks, which is also for the Canadian read and is a graphic novel about a woman from Nova Scotia who spent 2 years working up in Fort McMurray in the oil sands. It was interesting, it was long, very repetitive, but not altogether inaccurate as somebody who lives in the oil sands but doesn't work there. And I wanted to read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I have now finally completed. It was the June buzzword, and I think I finished it at the very beginning of August, and then today realized I didn't read my August buzzword, and I'm upset about it. And then I started Soul Care and The Magic of Motherhood, which are still ongoing. And then the books on my spring TBR that I put under forever on my TBR is The Whispers by Ashley Audrain, the Abby Jimenez books, which I am almost done the third one just for the summer, so I'm so excited about that. Loving those books a lot. And then Unnatural Mom, which would be a Christian nonfiction as well. So that's my bookish goals for 2024. That's how it's going. Compile, I think I've compiled like one book this year. My bullet journaling, not great. The book tracking, I will link down below how I track that. The book buying and everything, I'll link down below. I'm not great at keeping up with it, but I try to spend some time every few months plugging that all in there. And I'm really happy with reading books that I already own. And am I being consistent on Instagram? Not great. Not terrible. So that's how I'm doing. That's what's up. This is going to be my last sit down talk video for a while. And I'll post what I post when I post, if I can. We'll see. If you're watching this, you've stayed till the end, please comment down below. Leave an emoji of some kind, a pink heart or a flower or something. A little bumblebee for Becky. Thank you for being here and hanging out with me. Bye.